In this episode, it's time to get specific about how to do conversation canvassing. We'll look at the recommended pattern, a series of steps to follow, a kind of outline. And it's one that you can adapt as your style and the circumstances suggest. Let's turn to the actual pattern of a deep canvassing conversation. We call this a conversation guide rather than a script, because it's a general outline, a kind of flow chart for a discussion, but not a carefully honed text to follow word by word. There are 5 basic steps or phases. You'll begin the conversation with an introduction and question. You'll listen empathetically to what you hear. If there's an opening, you'll share your own story. If you meet pushback or resistance, you'll engage, but avoid arguing. And finally, you'll offer some kind of call to action. It's a sequence that may often come naturally, but it's not always in this exact same order. It's not necessarily linear. To begin the conversation, you're going to adopt a mindset of understanding, not convincing. You'll introduce yourself as a neighbor, say your name, where you live. And it can help to take a breath and adopt that open, compassionate frame of mind before you actually knock.
I figured out that in order to have a good conversation, I had to just pause a little bit before I went up and knocked on the door and envision a really nice conversation. And that would put me in a positive mood, and that actually helped me to have a good conversation with people, because I was able to be really upbeat and smile a lot and listen.
Another thing we recommend to beginning the conversation is that you arrive with open hands, no clipboard. This may seem challenging at first if you're used to canvassing with materials in hand, but for this kind of conversation, it's best. It allows you to approach without signaling that you're a political partisan. You get to identify yourself and your purpose in your own words. One choice you can make is to wear a button. In 2022, working on voter registration, we did. Some of us had it on our shirts, others on our bags. If you're focused on an issue, a button can help indicate your purpose. Some people will see your button and ask you right away. For others, the discussion takes off and you point out your affiliation with the group later. You can do whatever works best for you. Now we come to the second step, empathetic listening in the canvassing context. You'll listen first. You'll lead with your curiosity, a genuine interest. You'll ask open-ended questions, the ones that have a variety of possible responses. You'll repeat back and guess at the person's feelings. So it sounds like you're thinking this. And always you'll look for common beliefs. Step 3 happens if you see an opportunity to tell a story of your own. That doesn't always happen, but it can be a powerful way to establish that common ground. A personal story is better than an anecdote from the news. You get to express your own perspective on an issue, especially when you do it as a personal opinion and you do it respectfully. And remember that when some common ground is there, some kind of alliance, thinking can shift. Sometimes things will get hard, and engage with pushback if you can use it. In all cases, it's important to empathize, acknowledge the person's feeling. You might use the active listening response of naming and repeating back the emotion you hear. It sounds as if this makes you angry. I get that. You can answer briefly. You may want to offer a fact or a correction, but don't get pulled into an argument. And as soon as you can, redirect. Bring it back to the topic of the canvas and end with a question. If you're in a challenging conversation, remember that people may have a lot of conflicting feelings, and those can produce contradictory opinions. So listen for those conflicts. They may present an opportunity for you to reframe the issue. Your questions can invite the person to think in a new way. I'll give an example. Someone starts saying that immigrants are scary and criminal, but earlier they mentioned a man who fixed their roof and how nice he was. So you hear some cognitive dissonance there, conflicting beliefs. That's an opening for non-judgmental questions. I remember you talked about that Mexican roofer. Sounds like he wasn't that scary. Why do you think the roofer was so different from the immigrants they talk about on TV? If that conversation continues, the person gets to hear himself as he sorts out his ideas. You're not expecting a huge turnaround here, but you may help that person reflect and move a little. So, after listening and asking questions to invite that reflection, you're going to redirect. In this case, that might be something like, I think I'm hearing that safety is something everybody wants. And that's why I'm out here. I'm wondering if you'd look at this petition I have for our police chief. That's a move to step 5. The last one, where we're ending the conversation with some kind of call to action. It's common in organizing to say close with an ask, an invitation or request that the person do something active, take a step. That might be simply thinking more about an issue. I can see you're not sure about this, but maybe you'll research it more on your own. Can I give you this pamphlet with some information? A person's movement may simply be considering a new perspective. The ask can also be pretty concrete. Now that you have information on how to vote in our town, do you think you'll register this summer? Or will you sign this petition? The ask could also involve granting permission for further contact. Could I give you a call next month and see how that's going? Or, I've enjoyed talking with you. Can I check back? And at some doors, you might even find strong allies. So we have this group and we're always looking for volunteers. You'd be great in that group. Would you like to come to a meeting? I'll offer an example now. This is a short video of an actual conversation taken during the California Marriage Equality Campaign. We'll see a canvassing volunteer named Jackson meet a voter.
We're talking to folks about marriage for gay and lesbian couples. Do you remember that being on the ballot in 2008? Okay.
Prop 8.
Yeah. And do you remember how you voted on it?
We didn't vote.
You didn't vote. Okay. What would you say is on the side for you that's holding you back from supporting it? I'm just trying to understand better.
Basically, I kind of didn't want to get involved. I didn't want to make the wrong choice.
Yeah, sure. You want to do the right thing.
Now you're making me think about this. I happen to have a cousin who's lesbian that I love very much, and she's been with another woman for about 20 years.
Oh, wow, that's a long time.
So I don't have any prejudice towards that.
What's your cousin's name?
Her name is Jill.
Jill. Okay. So it seems like Jill would be real happy, right, if she could get married.
They'd like to, especially they're going through financial troubles.
Yeah, it's helpful.
And I believe this stuff. See, I get emotional about this.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, it seems like it's really hard decision.
Well, when it comes to health issues and stuff.
What? Just curious. Why does it, make you feel so emotional?
Because right now you can't do things for each other.
Yeah. That's gotta be really hard. And I
Sorry.
you how much you love and care for them, and for a lot of folks, it's about protecting this sort of idea of man, woman, and things like that. But for us, it's about protecting each other.
Yeah, you taught me, and I bring that stuff up, and I realized that about my cousins, as much as I love them and stuff. I don't know that I take it in internally as much.
Yeah.
That's like you're saying about voting. Why didn't I? And now, because it wasn't something that was really super personal to me.
Sure. We're going to be voting on this again in the future. I mean, what do you think would be the right thing to do?
I would vote for gays to be able to legally get married.
To legally get married. And why does that feel right to you?
Because I think if two people love each other, they love each other, as a couple.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
Next time, we're going to show you our own conversation, the way we applied this conversation canvassing pattern to our own project. I'll see you again for episode 5.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, fascists, you may be surprised. People in this world are getting organized. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose.